Hey guys, I'm Ninja, and today we are back with the final of our Capenna decks. We have the Bedecked brokers here. So the brokers care about counters and stuff, and their main mechanic in Capenna was the shield counters, which whenever the creature with shield counter would be destroyed or would take damage, you would remove the shield counter instead. So it lets you protect your things. Commander here is Parry the Pulverizer. Yeah, let's just get into it. This is a +1/+1 counters deck thing. Here's the actual deck. Throw all this out. Here we go. Brokers. Plastic thing. Pamphlet. Life wheel. Promo. Not collector pack. Just open it up and let's see. This is the last one. Come on, try them. Unlicensed Hearse. 2 mana. Exile up to 2 cards from a graveyard. Unlicensed Hearse power is equal to the number of cards exiled within his crew 2. Interesting. Very interesting. Shattered Seraph. Again, from that cycle I've been talking about for limited. Yeah, you pay 2, exile this, you can make it make a land tap for white, blue, black, and then you can cast this card later on. Yeah, great for that limited environment. Very good card. Well, not like amazing, but it was good for the limited. Alright, now the deck. Try to speed through again. My voice has just been killing me because I just decided one day ran through all these decks. I want them opened. So, I don't really remember what Parry Pulverizer does, but I know it's just good and cares about counters. Actually, first, let's go to the thick card. And our tokens, we have elementals, a lot of them, fishes, elephants, copies, shield and charge counters on the back of these. Then, obviously, think how to play. Clues. Is it all clues? Damn, bro. So many. Jeez. Alright. So, Parry the Pulverizer. 1 in Bant, or brokers. When it enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on our creature. Okay, I told you shield counters do. When it attacks, start creature you control gains trample and gets +X/+X until on the turn. Rex is the number of different kinds of counters among permanents you controls. Alright, so that's pretty cool. So you shield something, put on anything, and then yeah. Does that, and he just cares about all the different kinds of counters you can have. So shield's obviously 1, +1 of the counter is the main counter. And also it looks like we have charge counters as well. So that's cool. And the backup commander is Cross, Defense Contractor. Beginning of upkeep, put a shield counter on target creature an opponent controls. Whenever one or more counters on a creature you don't control, tap that creature and goad it. It gains trample till your this would be cool in like Bumbleflower, though I'm not gonna put it in because I'm keeping that deck the way it is because it's my Spanish Senora Margarita. I can't change it. Fortunately. This would be great for stuff like that. That's cool though. I like that. Broker's Charm. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until on the turn, deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. So it's like the Prussian. I forgot what it's called, but I know what it does. It's like 3 mana instants that do that type effect. Store target enchantment or draw 2 cards. Okay, so it's pretty good for you, flexible. Draws you cards and has removal on it. Very nice. Exotic Pet. 3 mana instant, create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens. This creature can't be blocked. Then for each kind of counter among creatures you control, put a counter of those kinds on either of those tokens. So that's really cool. So you get unblockable stuff, which is great to put counters on. And then you get to put any kind of counters on this thing that you have. So that's cool. Broker's Hideout. Again, same thing as like that whole cycle. Sacrifice itself, searches for a basic land of any of the types. generous gift. White beast within destroys any permanent. That controller makes a 3/3 elephant. Graceful Apparition, very good card. Flying. Whenever Graceful Apparition does combination player, proliferate. Basically, it's a white thrumming bird. Skyship Plunder. It's a little worse than the thrumming birds, but when it does common damage to a player, for each kind of counter on target permanent or player, give that permanent or player another kind of counter. Well, maybe for this one's a little better because I'm pretty sure you could proliferate any type of counter on something. So yeah, I don't know. And here's actually Thrumming Bird Flying. Whenever Thrumming Bird does combination to a player, proliferate. Any number of permanents and or play. Then give each another of each kind that already there. So yeah, for each of them. So yeah, this one's just a little worse, except it has one more damage. Whoa, so powerful. Wingspan Mentor. When enters, put a flying counter on target non-human creature you control. So it gives it flying, except it's in the counter, and then you can pay 2 in the blue, tap it, put +1 as a counter, and each creature you control flying. So get you flying counters and +1/+1 counters. Ooh, amazing card here, Devoted Druid. So your 2 taps for green, and then you can put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid to untap Devoted Druid. Has so many combos, especially with like the broker's like main head guy with like Falcospar. With Sensei's Divine Top and Devoted Druid is at infinite. Not gonna really explain it, but it is. It's really good, and it just Devoted Druid just has so many combos. I don't know. Evolution Sage. Whenever I land this battlefield on your control, proliferate. Great card for this. Walleroots Defender. Put a -0/-1 counter on this, and then this taps for green. Activate only once each turn. So I think like one of the only instances of -0/-1 counters. But it's a special type of counter, so it works with parry and stuff. Oh, Wickerbolt Elder. This card's amazing. Whenever Wickerbolt Elder enters the battlefield, put enters the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter on it. You can pay green to remove a -1/-1 counter from Wickerbolt Elder to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Great card. You can keep proliferating the -1/-1 counters, then taking them off to just blow stuff up. Really strong card. Ooh, Band Charm. It's just straight up Band Charm. This is the only one that actually has the charm of like the original color combo. Destroy target artifact. Put target creature on the bottom of its owner's library, or counter target instant spell. Say it's probably a little better, because you draw 2 cards, but still pretty good. Primal Empathy. 1 green, blue. In your upkeep, draw a card. If you control a creature, the raise power among creatures on the battlefield. Otherwise, put +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So either puts counters or draws you cards. So pretty good. Urban Evolution. Draw 2 cards, then you can put an additional land this turn. No, not 2, 3 cards, then you play an additional land. So a little bit of ramp. It's kind of just like a mega explore, except you get extra cards. Arcane Signet against standard. Wind Sphere against standard for these, but usually only got them. Everflowing Chalice. Well, this is a great mana rock for each side of decks, or just in general. Multi-kicker. Pay 2. Cost 0, but you can pay 2 to kick it, and when you kick it, you get a charge counter on it, and it taps for colors for each charge counter on it. So you proliferate this, and it taps for more mana. So it's really good. Angelic Sleuth. I don't know about this. 3 mana, 2/3 flying. Whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, investigate. So get you a little bit of value for your. If any of your things die, get you a little bit extra value from them. Cool. Contractual Safeguard. 3 mana Addendum. Instant. You don't really see Addendum anymore. If you cast a spell during your main phase, put a shield counter on a creature you control. Basically, Addendum is just if you play an instant card during your main phase, you get the effect. You get an extra effect. And then choose a kind of counter on a creature you control. Put a counter of that kind on each other creature you control. So that's pretty good. So you just play this for 3, and then you do that. But I guess if like with parry, if you already have a shield counter, and like someone goes, okay, more life, okay, you can instant speed, do this, give everything a shield, and you're fine. But that's pretty nice. Damning Verdict. really good card for counters deck. Destroy all creatures with that, with no counters on them. So pretty good for you. You usually want your things to have counters in this type of deck, so yeah, your things are gonna have counters, and they'll blow up most of other people's things if they don't have counters on them. Sourceful Defense, 3 mana. Whenever permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target permanent you control. 4 and a white, move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent. So this is kind of like a little mini Ozolith, where it'll store your count, it'll just be able to keep your counters and move them to something else. Ozolith, of course, way better, costs 1 colorless, does a bunch of other, like, Ozolith is stupid. But this is pretty nice stuff. And it also has 5 if you really want to move stuff, but I probably usually wouldn't, so I really wanted to. Skyboon Evangelist, flying, enters the battlefield, support 6. Put +1 counter on each of up to 6 other target creatures. Okay. When a creature with a counter on it attacks one of your opponents, that creature gains flying. Okay, so it gives you attacking creatures with counters flying, but support 6 is insane. That basically just says put +1 counter on your whole team. That's what it says, besides this, because you can't support itself. And you can also be a little bit political with this to put on other people's things. Because it also does say whenever any creature attacks an opponent and it has a counter, it does that. So you can be a little political with this, so that's cool. Even Courier, 2 mana 1/1. When it attacks, choose a counter on a permanent you control. Put a counter of that kind on target permanent you control if it doesn't have a counter of that kind on it. Okay. See, I like this more than like that 2/1, because at least this one just does something. It puts a counter on something else that you already have. So like that's pretty cool. Shield Broker, 5 mana 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on target non-commander creature you control. You gain control of that creature for as long as it has a shield counter on it. Okay. So it doesn't let you steal commanders. A little unfortunate, but yeah, makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, this is great. You could take someone's thing and then it has a shield counter on it. And yeah, it's good to use it. I mean, the only thing is you kind of wish it didn't, because if it dies on your control, then it just goes back to them instead of just dying, so they don't get it back. But still, and maybe you can do a little tricky things with it. Storm of Forms, 4 mana. When you cast a spell, copy it. For each kind of counter among permanents you control, you may choose new targets for copies. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Ooh, so this can be, not board wipe, but a little bit of like just selection. Like you're probably usually gonna get like 3 or 4 out of this, so that's pretty good. Bribe Taker, 6 mana. When it enters the battlefield, for each kind of counter on permanents you control, you may put your choice of a +1/+1 counter or a counter of that kind on the Bribe Taker. So again, just spreading out more counters, caring about just having multiple specific types of counters. Family's Favor, enchantment, 3 mana. Whenever you attack, put a shield counter on target attacking creature you control. Until end of turn, it gains. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to the player, remove a shield counter. If you do, draw a card. So that's pretty interesting. So like it can save itself off from the damage. So basically, you can attack with something, it'll get a shield counter on it, and then if it hits, you can lose that shield counter, draw a card. Or if it just gets hit, it'll just lose the shield counter. So that's pretty cool. Pretty nice card. Park Heights Maverick. Interesting. 3 mana, Dethrone. Okay. So it attacks a player with the most or tied for the most life, put a +1 counter on it. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player or dies, proliferate. So that's cool. Just does proliferate stuff. Dethrone lets you get counters on it. Sick. Ooh, Agent's Toolbox. This is a fun card. Toolbox, toolkit. 1 green and 1 blue. It enters with a +1/+1 counter, a flying counter, a death touch counter, and a shield counter on it. And whenever it enters the battlefield, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, you may move a counter from your Agent's Toolkit to that creature. And it's also a clue, so you can pay 2, sacrifice it to draw a card. This card's sweet. Basically, we'll just let all, like, next, how many does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4. The next 4 things you have come in with counters, and it's a clue layer, so you can just sack yourself to draw a card. So that's pretty sweet. Broker's Conflict. Alright, let's see what this does. 2 green, white, blue. Choose 3. You can choose 3. Choose the same mode more than once if you want. Proliferate. The target creature phases out. Counter target activated or triggered ability. Okay. Sorry. So that's pretty good. I mean, just 3 proliferates, that's pretty fine. Phasing out, that's pretty nice. It's instant, so you can save some of your stuff. And if you need to counter stuff, you counter stuff. So here's the 2-color commander. Denry Kiln, Editor-in-Chief, enters the battlefield with your choice of a +1/+1 counter, a first strike, or a vigilance counter. Okay, so more counter types. Whenever a non-token creature you control enters the battlefield, if Denry has a counter on it, put the same number and kind of counters on that creature. Ooh, okay. That's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good. Like, you can give all your stuff vigilance or first strike or just +1/+1. Like, that's pretty nice. Gavel of the Righteous, 2 mana. You have combat on your turn, put a charge counter on Gavel of the Righteous. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each charge counter. Oh, just each counter, not charge counter. So it could have more counters if anything else. You put other counters on. As long as Gavel of the Righteous has 4 more counters, equipped creature has double strike. You can equip it by paying 3 or removing a counter from Gavel of the Righteous. So that's pretty cool. You really like that a lot. It's a pretty interesting equipment. And if you're doing proliferate stuff, you can mess with this. It's pretty cool. Avenging Huntmonger, double strike. When it attacks, put double strike counter on target attacking creature. Okay. That is nice. Double strike counters that's something that's really good. Declaration Stone. Exile target creature and all creatures its controller controls with the same name as that creature. That player investigates for each non-token creature exile this way. So this is just a token hoser. Mainly. I mean, yeah, it's just a token hoser. Or if you need to get something, you just pay 2, exile something, and then they get a clue. That's pretty interesting. If it's mainly with the whole theme of, like, if you're fighting all the decks together. Hoof Prints of the Stag. 1 white. Tribal Enchantment Elemental. Whenever you draw a card, put a Hoofprint counter on the Hoofprint of the Stag. Pay 2 white, remove 4 Hoofprint counters from Hoofprints of the Stag. Create a 4/4 white elemental creature token with flying. Activate only during your turn. So pretty nice. Again, just drawing cards instantly, you can get it, and then you can remove counters. Well, you proliferate the counters, and then you remove the counters to make 4/4s, which is really good. I mean, this is in Bubbleflower, just because in Bubbleflower you can just draw so many cards that you can always just pay for this. So like, that's pretty nice. Luminar Casper, this card's amazing. Just at the beginning of combat your turn, put a +1 as a counter. Target creature you control, and it's a 1/1. It's just a really good card. Just every combat you get a counter, +1/+1 counter. Planar Outburst, 3 white, sorcery. Destroy all non-land creatures. And it also has Awaken. For 4, and you pay 5 white. If you cast it for the Awaken cost, you also put 4 +1/+1 counters on the land, and becomes an elemental token. So if you do that, you also just get left behind a 4/4 on the land with counters, which is good for you. Together Forever. White. When it enters support 2, 1, choose to a creature with a counter on it. When that creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. Ooh. That's pretty nice. Just get to put counters on 2 things, and then you can save your things with counters. Or you buy them back. Midnight Clock. I love Midnight Clock. 3 mana rock taps for a blue, which normally isn't that great, but it has. You can pay 2 and a blue to put an hour counter on Midnight Clock, and then at the beginning of each upkeep, it's important, you put an hour counter on this, and then when it hits 12, you exile it and shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library and draw 7 cards. So that's really nice. Tezzer's Gambit, it's a fine card for Proliferate decks. Just draw 2 cards. Proliferate has 3 and the Phyrexian blue, so you can pay 2 life for it and 3 mana. Forgotten Ancient, amazing card. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a +1 counter on Forgotten Ancient. You may. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of +1 counters from Forgotten Ancient onto another creature. So You can just store up counters, and then it can move it to something else you want. Incubation Druid's a very nice card. Taps for 1 mana of any color land could produce. And if it has a +1/+1 counter, it gets 3 of that instead. And it also has Adapt for 3 in a green, which you can put 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and you can only do it if it has no counters on it. But if you just put a counter on it incidentally from any other thing, it'll still have that effect. You don't have to adapt it. So just a good mana source for counters deck. Speaking of, Rishkar, amazing. When it enters, put 2 +1/+1 counters. Put +1 counter on each of up to 2 creatures, and then each creature with a +1/+1 counter has tap to add a green. Really solid card. Speaking of Rishkar's expertise, draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control, and you can cast a spell from your hand with mana value 5 or less without paying its mana cost. Really great card. Will just refill your hand and let you just play something for free. Strong. Ooze, really good for this deck. It's Graveyard Hate, plus incidentally gets it +1/+1 counters, which you care about. Pay green, exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and gain 1 life. Yep. Slippery Bogbonder. 3/3 flash, hexproof. When Slippery Bogbonder enters, put a hexproof counter on target creature. Then move any number of counters from among creatures you control onto that creature. Oh, so that's pretty good. So just hexproof is great because it also has flash, so you can just hexproof something, and then you can just move around counters. Oh, I remember this card. Steel Blade Hydra, Bane Hydra. X green enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. Pay 2 and a green. Remove a +1/+1 counter from Steel Bane Hydra. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Amazing card. Just use this counter to blow up shit. Planeswalker. Johnny. Unyielding. Undying. Unyielding. Yep. 4 green-white. Planeswalker. 4 loyalty. +2. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand and put the rest on the bottom in the library in a random order. -2 exile target creature. Controller gains life, gets its power, so just swords. And 9. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, and 5 loyalty counters on each planeswalker you control. So it's just a little bit of incidental value. And if you get to that ult, it just puts 5 counters and everything. I don't think it's other planeswalkers. And -2 is just source the flash your sorcery, so that's pretty nice if you just need to get rid of something. Even Mimeomancer, 1 white, blue, flying, 3/1. Being your upkeep, you may put a feather counter on target creature. If you do, that creature has base power and toughness 3/1 that's flying for as long as it has a feather counter on it. So, more counter types. Fathom Mage, this card's an amazing card. 2 green-blue, evolve. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it has greater power or toughness, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And whenever a +1/+1 creature, a +1/+1 counter is put on Fathom Mage, draw a card. Fathom Mage is just an amazing value engine for +1/+1 counter decks. Ooh, what is you? Genra. Bajura of War. Green, white, blue. 3/3 fly. You get paid 1 in a white, put a +1/+1 counter on it. It's a mythic, that's interesting. I mean, it's just a 3/3 flyer and it has the ability to put counters on stuff, it seems okay. This card's not Rolesk, Apex Hybrid, this card's amazing. 2 green, blue for a 4/5 flying trample. And when it enters, put 2 +1/+1 counters on another creature. And when it dies, proliferate, then proliferate again. So 2 proliferates on this card. Really nice. Whirl of the Hullblade. Very nice card. Pay green and blue. Double the number of counters of each kind of counter on target artifact, creature, or land. So it just lets you double counters on anything. Oh, you really want counters. Okay, Crystalline Giant. Alright, at the beginning of your combat, choose a kind of counter at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't have. From Flying, First Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, Vigilance, and +1/+1. Put that kind of counter on Crystalline Giant. So it can just have a ton of type of counters, which is really what you want. So that's really nice. Oblivion Stone. Oh, this is actually really interesting. Cool card to have in this deck. 4 to put a fake counter on target permanent, so it can put a special, different type of counter on something. 5 and tap, sacrifice it. Destroy each non-land permanent without a fake counter on it. and remove all fake counters from all permanents. So it's mainly used as just a board wipe. But with fake counters, it works well for the deck because you want different kind of counters types. And you can move and like proliferate them around, so you can just have a ton on everything and make your board safe when you crack it. That's really nice. All right, Oracle's Vault. We're almost done. 4 artifact. Tap it. Exile top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Put a brick counter on Oracle Vault. Exile top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. Activate only if there are 3 or more brick counters on Oracle Vault. So it's kind of just a little incidental value card. Well, you have to do the first one, and then if you can proliferate it, then you can do them for free. So it's really nice. Alright, now lands. I'm not even going to speak because I want to save my voice. What's this? Put plus 1 counter each creature you control for 2 green in the way. Cards Passion, 4 mana to proliferate. Nesting Grounds, 1 to move the counter from anything. Yeah. Bellower Stone, Power Conduit. Remove a counter from a permanent you control. Choose 1. Put a charge counter on target artifact. Put plus 1 counter on target creature. Okay. Soul Ring. Ooh, our Swifty. Vamp Panorama. The Tardra Mirror Lake. Ends its benefits. 2 green, blue. Sacrifice a great token that's a copy of target creature control. Enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Oh, that's cool. There Where Reborn has graft 1, so whenever a creature enters, it'll take the +1/+1 counter from it and put it onto something. Pretty nice. Oh, Vivid Creek. Enters with 2 charge counters. You can remove charge counter to add 1 mana of any color and just taps for blue. Oh, we have all the Vivid lands. Makes sense for this. Basic lands. And then our special. Alright, all the Capenna decks done. Oh my god, my voice. My voice. But we got through it. That was it. These decks are super fun. I'm definitely going to be doing stuff with these. Mainly Kit Kanto and I Love. Those are like the ones I definitely want to do. But, hope you all enjoyed. And Average MG Player, out.